Welcome back to the channel, comic fans. Hold on to your underwear on the outside of your pants, because Superman number 6, 150, isn't just a comic book. It's a whirlwind of emotional damage, explosions, and pure, unadulterated super drama. It's the start of the Up, Up, and Away 8-part event. Let's get into it. Imagine a world where Superman just poofed, gone, vanished. That's the post-Infinite Crisis landscape of 1 year later. And let me tell you, it's a desolate wasteland of despair for Metropolis. Our story kicks off with a movie premiere, so meta it nearly breaks the fourth wall. Superman, a retrospective. Sitting in the audience, looking like two particularly sad puppies at a funeral, are Clark Kent and Lois Lane. And don't even get me started on Jimmy Olsen, who's basically a walking, talking emo anthem, still mourning the absence of his favorite flying pal. The world's lost its shine, its protector, its hope. But fear not, for the universe always balances itself with a villain of exquisite pettiness. Lex Luthor, the chrome-domed titan of terror, has just waltzed out of court, acquitted of everything. You'd think he'd be celebrating, popping champagne, bathing in money. Nope! The good people of Metropolis, bless their rock-throwing hearts, have decided Lex is still a scumbag and literally pelt him with pavement. Public scorn. It's enough to make a billionaire weep. And then plot his ultimate, most spectacularly petty revenge against a city that dares to defy him. As he's being whisked away, he clutches a mysterious crystal, etched with the most terrifying word in Kryptonian, Doomsday. Meanwhile, our man, Clark Kent, completely powerless, but not useless, is shockingly good at his day job. Perry White is practically showering him with compliments for his compelling articles. Who knew a reporter without heat vision could be so effective? He's even enjoying the simple pleasures, like loads soft pretzels. So many that Lois even says he's going to get. Super fat! Lois, ever the investigative queen, tips him off to a mad scientist named Dr. K. Russell Abernathy, who's got a bright idea. Kryptonite as an energy source, because nothing bad ever happens when you mess with glowing green death rocks. Right. Kaboom! As expected, Abernathy's little science project goes spectacularly wrong, transforming him into the hulking green and wonderfully chaotic Kryptonite Man. He starts trashing the place, cackling like a maniac. In a move of pure, unadulterated Clark Kent bravery, our powerless hero pulls an old woman to safety. Then, in a moment of pure brilliance, he subtly presses a button on his watch, and then, bam! Whoosh! It's Supergirl! And she's not just back. She's clearly been hitting the gym and perfecting her superhero poses. She's the new sheriff in town, answering Clark's secret S, Dos. The fight against the Kryptonite Man is a glorious, painful ballet of super punches and green radiation burns. Kara, our girl of steel, finally punches him into a garbage truck, melts the lead around him with her heat vision, and then freezes it solid with her super breath. Take that, radioactive villain! Just when you think Metropolis is safe again, and Clark can go back to his pretzels. Bam! Lex Luthor's goons snatch Clark right off the street. Lex, whose ego has been bruised worse than a forgotten banana, proceeds to deliver the most humiliating, rib-shattering, face-pummeling beatdown to a powerless Clark Kent. Blood, spit, broken bones. It's all there. A brutal reminder that without his powers, Clark is just as vulnerable as any other human. Superman 650 isn't just a comic. It's a gut punch, a glorious reintroduction, and a promise of absolute chaos to come. You're left begging the question, how in the name of Batman is Clark getting his powers back? And what fresh hell does Lex Luthor have brewing next? This leads us to Action Comics 837. Up, up, and away! Part 2. Metropolis, the city of tomorrow, where the coffee is strong, the buildings are taller, and Lex Luthor's ego is the only thing bigger than the number of times Batman says, "I'm Batman!" Speaking of which, let's check in on our favorite hairless wonder, ex-billionaire genius, Lex Luthor. Once the king of the corporate world, Lex now finds himself lower than a Daily Planet intern's salary, booted from LexCorp by a board with more backbone than a Kryptonian. Lex is holed up in a secret lab, surrounded by enough Kryptonian tech to make NASA jealous. He's not just mad, he's mad with a plan. He's got a Superman robot, a grudge, and a recruitment drive for the world's weirdest villain team. First up, Toyman, who's apparently been moonlighting as a robot wrangler. Meanwhile, Clark Kent is still the world's most overqualified reporter, only now he's doing it all without superpowers. That's right, no heat vision, no flight, just a sharp suit, a sharper pencil, and enough journalistic integrity to make Woodward and Bernstein look like gossip bloggers. Lois Lane, ever the supportive wife, wonders why Clark didn't just punch Lex in his smug, stupid, billionaire face. But Clark, being Clark, insists that the pen is mightier than the Kryptonian punch. Spoiler alert, it's not. Clark's investigation leads him deep into the underbelly of Metropolis. Literally. He's poking around subway tunnels because nothing says Pulitzer like sewer stench and suspicious activity. He finds a bunch of goons in Lex Luthor cosplay, complete with war suits that look like they were designed by a committee of angry Roombas. Just as Clark is about to get the scoop of the century, his phone rings. Classic rookie move. The goons spot him, and suddenly it's less undercover reporting and more run for your life, Kent. Enter Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, stage left, with all the subtlety of a Michael Bay movie. They swoop in, save Clark's bacon, start beating the hell out of these clowns in Luthor outfits. Even powerless, Clark is still the kind of guy who'll throw himself in front of a runaway subway train if it means saving lives. Hal, ever the show-off, offers Clark a Green Lantern ring, customized with a Superman logo, in case we forgot who he is. Clark, humble as ever, turns it down. He's not ready to swap his glasses for a power ring just yet. Back in his lair, Lex Luthor is assembling the world's least likely supervillain team. He visits the Superman Memorial, now with extra Superboy statue for that collect them all feeling, and recruits Metallo, the man with a heart of kryptonite and the personality of an old dirty sock. Lex's plan: hit Superman where it hurts, assuming Superman ever gets his powers back. This leads us into Up, Up, and Away, Part 3, Superman 651. Up, up, and away. Part 3, Metropolis, the city where villains multiply like rabbits on espresso. Being Superman's alter ego is basically a kick-me sign when you have no powers anymore. Enter Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, dropping in with the subtlety of a marching band. Hal Jordan, never one to pass up a chance to flex, offers Clark a Green Lantern ring. Go on, Kent. Try being relevant again. Clark gives it a spin, makes a few constructs, probably resists the urge to make a giant green pretzel. But in the end, he hands the ring back. Because let's face it, Clark's not about to join the Justice League's cosplay division. Besides, he looks better in blue. Meanwhile, the real action's in the underworld. Lex Luthor, bankrupt, bitter, and plotting with Toyman like he's auditioning for villainous odd couples. They're tinkering with sunstone crystals, because when you can't beat Superman with brains, you try alien power. Intergang joins the party, suiting up in LexCorp battle armor, and decides Clark would look better with a few extra holes. Just as Clark's about to become a tragic news headline, Green Lantern and Hawkgirl crash the scene. The cavalry arrives, and Clark's saved again. But here's the twist. That brush with death, it's waking up something inside him. The powers are stirring. The world's about to get its caped wonder back, just in time for the villains to really up their game. Clark Kent jolts awake in the dead of night, breath short, brow slicked with sweat. His dreams are riddled with ghosts of power, visions of machines and men trying to jumpstart his Kryptonian cells. Mr. Terrific, Dr. Light, even the Ray. They're blasting solar energy into his body like it's a dying battery. But it's not working. Nothing is. He turns, sees Lois sleeping peacefully beside him, and for a heartbeat, just one, he wonders, was it all just a dream? The powers, the flying, the saving the world 100 times over. But he knows better. Morning comes like a fist to the face. Clark heads into the city, into the grime of it, not as Superman. Not even as the guy who used to be Superman. Just Clark. But he's still dangerous in the way a scalpel is dangerous. Precise, clean, and aiming. Straight for Intergang's guts. He's on the street with Jimmy Olsen. Camera at the ready. And they're shadowing Councilman Jeffries. A corrupt suit with Intergang blood money dripping from his cufflinks. Clark's pen is his weapon now. He's carving through lies, exposing Intergang from the top down. That expose, it burns through the city like a fuse. Elsewhere, in the dark, Lex Luthor is playing God again. Deep beneath the earth, in a chamber lit by mad science and pure ego, Lex stands beside the broken body of the Kryptonite man. The villain is barely alive, pulsing green like a toxic heartbeat, while Toyman whimpers in the shadows like a weirdo and fidgets with wires. Luthor is calm, smiling even. He's built a cannon. Not just any cannon, a kryptonite cannon, designed to channel raw kryptonite energy through a sunstone crystal, a relic of Krypton itself. Lex isn't just planning to kill Superman. No, he's moved beyond petty murder. He's going to wake up a Kryptonian warship buried in Texas since 1938. A ship with enough firepower to turn Metropolis into vaporized memory. But Lex needs a trigger. And oh, wouldn't you know it? That power, that spark, that cosmic ignition sequence. It's Clark Kent, baby. Back in Metropolis. It's supposed to be a date night. Just a normal evening. Lois and Clark, stadium lights, and the dull roar of a monster truck rally. But Clark's attention drifts. The engines can't drown out the signal in his bones. Something's wrong. The air tastes radioactive. He steps outside for air, just for a moment, and walks directly into a supervillain assassination attempt. Clark Kent. This is a courtesy warning from Intergang. Boom! Neutron and Radion step out of the shadows like demons from a dirty alleyway opera. Their bodies sizzle with energy. Clark doesn't have powers. Doesn't. But he's still Superman where it counts. He ducks. He runs. Not away, but toward danger. Toward people, toward the subway. They chase him underground, lighting up the tunnels with nuclear light and gamma fire. Civilians scream. Clark shoves them behind pillars, shielding them with his body like it's still invincible. And then, a train. It roars through the tunnel like a steel god. Clark turns just in time to take the hit full in the chest. Silence. Neutron and Radion watch from the shadows. The train's back end clatters past. There's no way he could have survived that. He's just a reporter. A pathetic meatbag. They leave. But something happened on those tracks. The dent in the train's front car is unmistakable. A perfect handprint. Clark Kent is not dead. He is becoming something again. His powers, they're not fully back, but the fire has been rekindled. The Kryptonian spark is reigniting. Clark Kent wakes up before dawn. The city's silent, but buzzing with expectation. He steps outside, stretching muscles long unused, heart pounding with cautious hope. His target, a nearby skyscraper. The goal, to leap over it. He crouches, eyes the rooftop, breathes in. Then, he springs. For a split second, he's weightless, flying free, a streak against the dark sky. But gravity wins. Clark plummets and crashes through a wooden fence, landing hard. He groans. Not quite. But the fire is there. The power is coming back. Clark Kent cooks eggs on the stove. Then, like a man possessed, he absently puts his hand on the red-hot burner. No pain. Not even a tingle. Lois storms in mid-rant, sees what he's doing, and drops her coffee. Clark! He turns, hand on fire, completely calm. They stare at each other. Lois steps out, comes back a moment later, holding it like an offering. The suit, red, blue, the crest of the House of El. She says go get him, but not Tiger, because that's stupid. Clark doesn't even speak. He just looks at it, then suits up. Lois supports her Man of Steel being a hero again. And the story shifts into gear. The Daily Planet erupts, not in headlines, but in smoke. The Puzzler, Intergang's pixelated menace, storms into the building like a living Sudoku with a superiority complex. Sparks fly, walls collapse, everyone runs. She wants Clark Kent, but Clark Kent has left the chat because Superman rockets through the window like a justice-seeking cannonball, fist first. The Puzzler phases, glitches, swipes with energy tendrils. Superman answers with a punch that rearranges his entire code. Suddenly, boom, boom, boom. They arrive. Livewire, sizzling like a lightning storm in human form. Silver Banshee, howling like an idiot into the skyline. Bloodsport, locked and loaded with enough firepower to fight a war. Hellgrammite, scuttling and screeching. Riot, multiplying faster than the eye can track. Superman stands alone. The crowd watches from rooftops. This is his moment. You picked the wrong day. Round 1. Livewire. She unleashes voltage. He takes it. She charges. He sidesteps. He yanks a steel sign off a bus stop and grounds her attack, frying the sidewalk instead. She shorts out in a puff of smoke. Round 2. Banshee. She wails. Sonic death blast. Windows explode. He inhales and lets loose a super breath that slaps her scream back into her throat. She chokes, flips end over end and hits the pavement like a Banshee-shaped brick. Round 3. Bloodsport. He unloads alien rounds, kryptonite laced. Superman laser slices his gun in 2 mid-fire. Bloodsport throws a backup. Superman catches it and crushes it like a soda can. Round 4. Hellgrammite. He lunges, insect limbs clawing. Superman grabs his arm, spins once, and hurls him into a billboard advertising a Superman documentary. Irony. Round 5. Riot. They rush him. Clones and copies and more clones. Superman starts running. Faster. Faster. He runs in circles, a blur, creating a vacuum vortex. The Riots gasp, stumble, drop like sacks of potatoes. Amid the dust, Jimmy Olsen stumbles, camera in hand. One last bullet flies. Time freezes. Superman sees it, calculates the arc, blurs into motion, and catches it midair an inch from Jimmy's face. Gotcha! Metropolis explodes in cheers. Happy that Jimmy's head didn't explode instead. This leads us to part 6 of this storyline, and we get to see Superman destroy these losers again. The issue blasts open with a riot in the streets, quite literally. Riot, Livewire, Bloodsport, Hellgrammite, and Silver Banshee are tearing through downtown Metropolis like a rejected suicide squad, with no dental plan. But then, from above, from the clouds, from destiny itself, Superman descends. And when I say descends, I mean like a rocket-powered thunder god, wrapped in a cape. He doesn't ask questions. He doesn't negotiate. He punches a Riot clone into next week and makes change with the rest. Livewire tries to fry him with a city's worth of electricity. He tanks it like it's a hot shower. Silver Banshee screams in Gaelic. He claps his hands with the force of a freight train and silences her like a dropped mic. Bloodsport opens fire with every weapon known to man, and a few from Mars. Superman moves so fast, he's already disassembled the gun and handed Bloodsport a bag of parts. And Hellgrammite. Let's just say they're going to need a mop and a bug net. Clark Kent strolls into the bullpen with the smuggest smile this side of the Phantom Zone. Perry White is practically throwing cigars at the ceiling, yelling, "Great Caesar's ghost! He's back!" Clark plays it cool. Coffee, notepad, big dumb glasses. Meanwhile, the city outside is vibrating with some kind of seismic menace. Clark listens. Something isn't right. And then he hears it. That frequency only he can detect. A pulse. A hum. Something alien. Superman shoots into the sky like a missile wrapped in hope. What he sees. Crystalline spires erupting from the ground. Not just buildings, but living, growing structures. Forming faster than city planners can cry. It's Kryptonian sunstone. Self-replicating. Invasive. Deadly. The Earth is being turned into a new Krypton against its will. It never consented to that. Smash cut to Lex Luthor, seated in the captain's chair of a Kryptonian warship, like he's a Star Trek villain who went to prep school and never got over losing prom king. Next to him, Toyman, sniveling and scheming. Before them, a Sunstone Command crystal, pulsing with otherworldly energy, stolen from Superman's own past. Lex grins like the devil's understudy. Let's see how Superman handles a world that doesn't need him. The Sunstone starts spreading faster. Buildings melt into alien geometry. Subways rupture. The skyline reshapes into a twisted Kryptonian cathedral. Superman rockets between towers. Heat vision slicing sunstone tendrils like surgical lasers. He lifts buses, catches falling girders, and rescues more civilians in 3 pages than most heroes do in 3 years. But it's not enough. The sunstone grows exponentially. Every second, more of Metropolis is consumed. Luthor's voice blares through hijacked broadcast towers. "This is the future, Superman! You're just an outdated fossil in red spandex!" Superman flies toward the warship. His cape snaps like a battle flag. Metropolis wakes up to doom in the sky. Above the skyline floats a levitating sunstone warship, looking like someone fused a cathedral with a meteor and jammed it full of intergalactic middle fingers. At the helm, Lex Luthor, of course. Bald, bitter, and belting monologues like he's auditioning for Macbeth with a death ray. This city scorned me. It praised him. So I'm going to rebuild it, Kryptonian style. The ship sprouts crystalline weapons like a horrifying botanical garden of mass destruction. Buildings start cracking. Civilians panic. And Luthor, he's smiling like a Bond villain on a bender. Superman doesn't come alone. He brings a Justice League buffet. Green Lantern, Captain Marvel, the Teen Titans, and the JSA. But just as hope builds, Luthor hits a button, and BAM! A force field surrounds New Troy Island. Trapped. Isolated. Metropolis becomes his personal bottle city of destruction. Superman knows what time it is. He does what only Superman can do. He turns his eyes into twin particle accelerators. X-ray vision locates the warship's brain. Heat vision follows. He drills a pair of red-hot holes straight into the ship's sunstone guts. Sparks fly. Circuits fry. The entire weapons grid hiccups and dies like a toddler's iPad with 1% battery. Luthor's not amused. Superman just cracks his knuckles. But Luthor has one more card to play. Kryptonite Armageddon! He hits another button, and the warship mutates into a green crystal mecha monster. A skyscraper-sized Kryptonian Gundam, dripping radioactive death. This thing starts belching blasts of green energy that could kill Superman before he can say, Lois. Civilians scatter, buildings disintegrate, the sky turns emerald. Enter Jimmy Olsen, wielding only his courage and a trash can lid. Like Captain America's shield, he jumps in front of a blast meant for innocent bystanders. Burns, bruises, big damn hero energy. Superman sees it and snaps. Burning, weakened, radiated. Superman takes off. He aims himself like a heat-seeking missile at the center of Luthor's warship. He punches through the hull. Kryptonite be damned, screaming like a freight train of justice. He grabs Lex, still mid-monologue, and rockets up into the stratosphere. The higher they go, the weaker Superman gets. The poison is everywhere. Luthor's still ranting. Superman's arms are shaking. And then Luthor shouts, "I hate you!" Superman looks him in the eyes, half-conscious, beat to hell, and probably thinks, you would. Now, the finale, the fists, the fortress. We begin mid-free fall. Superman and Lex Luthor, two gods among mortals, are plummeting from the sky like justice meteors. The sky is ripping, the water's rising, and the final round is now. They slam into the West River so hard, it creates a thunderclap heard from Metropolis to Gotham. Superman crawls out of the water, soaked, depowered, still steaming with kryptonite radiation. Lex is already on the shore, his battle armor fried, but that smug smirk still painted on his face, like he's auditioning to be the Devil's campaign manager. Come on then, alien. Let's finish this the human way. So they do. No powers, no tricks, just fists, fury, and 40 years of hatred in every punch. And Superman, even without his powers, he knocks Lex the hell out. Luthor goes down like a sack of radioactive potatoes, and Superman collapses right beside him, exhausted, victorious, and maybe a little bit done with this whole being nearly murdered by billionaires thing. Emergency crews rush in to scrape Superman off the pavement, but he waves them off. I'm good, he says, with the strength of a demigod who just punched a sunstone robot into scrap metal. They tell him Luthor's in custody. His Kryptonian tech is toast, and Metropolis is safe. Superman looks up at the skyline. The people are cheering. The cape flutters in the wind. He smiles like only Clark, Mother freaking Kent, can! Back at the Daily Planet, Clark walks in like he just got back from the world's most dangerous spa retreat. Lois is there. Perry's yelling. Jimmy's probably brewing coffee with lightning. Perry throws shade about Clark's vacation, but Lois backs him up like a Pulitzer-winning tank. Then Martha and Jonathan Kent send Clark a gift. An old-school typewriter, steel keys. Classic. A reminder that Clark Kent is just as mighty with words as Superman is with punches. The balance between man and myth is back. Superman doesn't take a break. He goes straight to Hobbs Bay, the working-class heart of the city, where people are rebuilding after the Sunstone catastrophe, and who's lifting girders, laying bricks, and pouring concrete. The Man of Steel himself. Why? Because when the gods walks among mortals, he doesn't just protect them, he builds with them. Then he visits Jimmy Olsen, who's recovering from literally blocking kryptonite energy blasts with a trash can lid. Superman gives him back his signal watch. Jimmy tears up. You're still my pal, right? Always, Jimmy. Always. What's this? A clown in a lab coat, calling himself Dr. Virus, tries to infect the city with a cosmic bacteria named Cryptococcus The Omni Germ, a literal germ made of hate and snot. Wrong day, wrong city. Superman swats the Omni Germ out of the sky like a radioactive fly and drags Dr. Virus to the nearest holding cell with the words, "Next time, get a better name." With peace restored, Superman takes the last shard of Luthor's Sunstone Crystal and flies to the Arctic. There, in the silence of snow and history, he throws the crystal into the ice, and like a miracle, a fortress rises. Not a weapon, not a lab, but a home. A place where Superman's past and future collide, where the spirit of Krypton will live on in peace. He walks inside, the doors close. A new chapter begins. The return is complete. The legend is reborn. Superman is here to stay. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be a superhero and smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment.